My name is Diane Hinson. I'm the owner and founder of Creative Family Connections, and I'm here today with one of our surrogates, Julie McAdoo.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Julie has finished one surrogacy journey, and she's about to start another one. So we're going to learn a little bit about her some more. But I'm first going to tell you a little bit about Creative Family Connections. This morning I promised I would talk to you about why we're different, so I'm going to do that. And then we're going to get some more information about Julie, just because I know people like to talk to real surrogates, and it's also so theoretical at this point of the process. So we are a law firm that does everything that a surrogacy agency does. And that's unique in this country. To just tell you how unique it is, there's nobody else here at this conference that's set up like we are. There are some surrogacy agencies that are co-owned with law firms, but we're one integrated entity. But from your perspective, you're like, okay, well, what difference does that make for me? Who cares? It does make an importance for you. You get all sorts of protections. Because law firms are very regulated, lawyers are very regulated, and agencies aren't. So what that means is that you receive extra protections. There's the attorney-client privilege. Do we have any lawyers here? That is. So you'll get everything when you talk to us, everything you tell us or communicate with us in writing is subject to that. It's privileged. We're not going to share it even with the surrogate. You are our client. Even your identity is confidential. There's no conflict as to who is our client. Is it you? Is it the surrogate? The surrogate's a very important part of the process. We're going to facilitate her journey because a happy womb makes for a happy baby, and she's a team member. This isn't an employer-employee relationship. It's a team. But she's going to have her own lawyer, and you are our client and this for legal purposes. So there's no question about questions in that regard. If we learn something, we tell you you're our client. It also means that we're really, right from the beginning, we understand the law, and there's no national law in the U.S. It's state by state, and so we're able to. There we go. We're able to make sure that your surrogate is located somewhere where we can protect your parentage rights. So this is a map of the U.S. You can see there's red lights, green light, yellow light states, orange lights where it's like not so good. And this is for married same-sex couples. If you're a single dad, you have to click through to see what the law is with respect to single dads, but we have that as well. And this has changed dramatically since the Supreme Court decision in Obergefell, but you don't have to worry about this because we'll worry about it for you. But the takeaway is California is not the only state that's good for surrogacy anymore. There are lots and lots and lots of states. So we don't have to just limit you to California for your surrogates. And so there are lots of places where we can find a surrogate nearby, but only one where we can get your name's on the birth certificate. She's not on the birth certificate. Her spouse is not on the birth certificate. So our goal is to make this journey as happy as possible, as stress-free as possible, and legal and ethical. And that seems to be a pretty good goal to make everybody happy, but it's really important to us. So the other benefit you get is money. I didn't mention that, right? So what happens to your money when you pay us? With all the agencies, you pay in installments sort of up front. But it's not our money till we earn it, because I'm a lawyer. So there are very strict rules. The money goes into a lawyer's trust fund. It's your money. We only transfer each month whatever we earn. And if something were to happen and you needed to stop, it's refunded to you. Interest happens to go to the legal bar for pro bono cases, but you're protected. There's no kick-out clause after a year. So any agency that you're talking to, you should be asking, what happens to my money? What happens if I have to stop? Is there any point where the contract ends and I lose that money? You just need to ask those questions. So let's have Julie come up. And find out a little bit more about what makes our surrogates tick, because Julie's wonderful, but we have lots of Julie-like surrogates. So Julie, tell us first a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
I'm from Oregon. I'm from on the coast, about 3 hours away from Portland, and I love Oregon. I know several other surrogates who are in Oregon as well.
Yeah, Oregon is also a very good state for surrogacy. So tell us about your first surrogacy journey. Who did you care for?
So my first journey, I cared for a couple from France, and they had twins, a boy and a girl. They were very excited. It was an amazing journey. I was thinking earlier about one experience that I wanted to share with you guys, and it was when they came for the 20-week ultrasound, and we were walking down the beach, and one of the dads was with my kids, playing with them, and the other dad was with me, and he looked over and he said, "Oh my gosh, he's going to be such a great dad." And it was really great for me to hear that too, because they were going to be such great dads, and I was going to be able to help make that happen, and I did, and it was amazing.
And are you still in contact with them?
I am, yes. We Skype about once a week or once a month now. Sometimes we go a little longer, sometimes we Skype more often. Definitely on birthdays and holidays we try to, and they send me these little books that are so cute that they put together with pictures and send me pictures over email all the time, and yeah, we're very close.
So her dads had twins, as she mentioned, so their family, they've decided, is complete. So when people have a singleton, they often will do another repeat journey with their surrogate, and we actually give these amazing deals. No match fee, huge discount, so it's a 76% discount total on CFC fees. But in this case, like I said, their journey was done, so Julie decided to do a second surrogacy journey with us. So, but she had lots of choices because there's lots of agencies out there. So tell us a little bit about why you decided. We're very happy, but tell us why you decided to do the repeat journey with Creative Family Connections.
So the second time around, I did even more research, and I was able to talk to a lot more surrogates because I had that connection now, and I was able to communicate with them and ask them about their journeys. And one thing that was really important to me, and it wasn't important to me just as a surrogate and coming into this journey again, but it was important to me as a parent as well, is that they really have a strong screening process for their surrogates. So it's important to me that the intended parents are taken care of in the same way that the surrogates are. So it's really great to know that these surrogates are in it for the right reasons. They really truly want to help somebody. And I appreciate that screening process. It's really great. And I also love that they really support you throughout the pregnancy too. I talked to some surrogates who, they were really great at getting back to them right away, but then when they were pregnant, it kind of died off, and they didn't know, they were confused, and they didn't know exactly what was happening, and, they didn't know how to approach the parents about something, or, something like that, and then they weren't able to get a hold of the agency. And I realized how lucky I was, even probably a little bit spoiled by my agency, and the fact that I wasn't, they always had everything ready for me. They told me what was going to happen before it happened. And really, they just facilitated the relationship to where we could have our relationship and everything else was taken care of. And that was really important to me.
Well, that's music to our ears, to hear that a surrogate feels spoiled. And that's how we also want you to feel, which is that, the case managers reach out right before every stage and say, here's what's coming. So to the extent you're feeling overwhelmed today, like, how am I going to remember all this? The point is, you don't have to. If you work with a good agency, you should have someone who's going to be your designated person who will reach out before every step of the process and say, okay, here's what's going to happen next, here's what you can expect, and then that person was somebody who you can reach out to as often as you want. And if there's anything that concerns you, you never have to be, the worry or the bad cop with your surrogate. You're just her cheerleader. You bring any worries to us. That's part of our job as well. So, yeah. So as you can see, Julie's amazing. How many of you would like to have a Julie as your surrogate? And so what I can tell you is that, you know, that's the kind of surrogate we have. I didn't bring her in because she's our trophy surrogate. I brought her in because she is typical of our surrogates. And that's what we do. We have one of the most, if not the most rigorous pre-screening processes in the country. You know, it includes, getting a form from her OB as to what her prior pregnancies were like, lots and lots of phone calls, in-depth references checks, and then we go and we do an in-home visit. And someone went to Julie's house. She was so nice that she cooked dinner for them. They got to meet the whole family, but we want to see the neighborhood. We want to see the house. We want to get to know her spouse and see her family, and then go over the pregnancy issues in person. And so in the end, we only accept 2% of all surrogate candidates. So they're all truly as wonderful as Julie. And then we want to make the right match for you, somebody who has the same views as you, somebody who's going to be the right personality, and somebody who's going to sail through the formal medical and psych screening, so that you know, we'd rather take a little time, get it right up front, and then you'll sail through so that you'll have that happy, stress-free process and relationship with your surrogate. We always hope that you'll develop that wonderful friendship, just like Julie did with her parents. And as she indicated, we stay involved. Your case manager, you'll have a case manager who will stay involved. You'll have the surrogate matching team. Here's a picture of some of our team at one of the weddings of one of our people. I mean, we are big enough, this is just some of us, but we are big enough that we can provide you that quality services, but we are small enough that we have that personal relationship, and not only with ourselves, but with our surrogates and with our clients. You know, we know everybody's names, we know who you all are, and we, you know, come to town anywhere near you, we're gonna reach out. We saw one of our clients this morning. It's like, how can we go to town and not see someone? I mean, we always say you're part of the CFC family. So, and we stay with you all the way through until you get that birth certificate and your names are spelled right, and studio, you're both on it. And, you know, we're known as a very high touch firm. And that's what we want, is to make that an easy journey for you. So, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
So we live in California, and
Yes.
I wasn't going to come to your session to begin with because I saw you weren't in California. I've heard the weekend that doesn't really matter except for a couple visits and the transportation. Do you think the time zone change is difficult for those phone calls?
I mean, you wouldn't even need to come visit us. And I mean, we've got clients in Europe, and it makes no difference. So, I mean, we've got clients in Australia where it's a 14-hour time difference, and we figure it out in Hong Kong. And so, no, we have, it's, you know, we make it work, and the time zone doesn't matter. And, you know, our conversations can be by Skype, they can be by phone, and then there are lots of email communications and things like that. So, honestly, we're a national and international practice, and I think what you want to do is pick an agency where you feel, I can trust these people. They have good judgment. They're going to find me a good surrogate. They're going to make the journey right, and that's what's most important.
And it didn't, there was the connection between me and my IPs, them being in France and me being in Oregon. The time zone didn't make a difference for that either. We just found a time, and we consistently, you know, Skyped on that time, and our relationship was really, really close.
And Julie can also speak to the agency, because we're on the East Coast, she's on the West Coast, so why don't you speak to that, Julie?
Yeah, the time change didn't affect that either. They were always really quick to get back to me. In fact, I have cell phone numbers of my case manager, and she'll get back to me on weekends if I have to. If it's really important, of course, I try not to bother her on weekends, but they're always available anytime I need them, and so.
Yeah, and especially with things like email. I mean, that just like takes away all the time difference and things. You know, I'll get emails from people on the West Coast, and I'm like, you know, when you wake up there or go to sleep there, right there, and then you just, yeah. So yeah, no, we have lots of West Coast and, like I said, crazy time differences with, you know, the rest of the world. So I don't think it's an issue, and I'm glad that you realized that, hopefully. That's why we're here, because otherwise we wouldn't come here if we didn't think it would matter. Yes?
Yeah, just to confirm, I know you mentioned that you had twins, but since during the conference it's sort of been discouraged. to have twins, your surrogates are still, the people you work with are still willing and available to have twins if that's our desire?
It's a really good question. So of all the surrogates, only 1/3 are willing to carry twins. So it does require you to be patient. We say count on 6 to 9 months for a match, but if you want twins, you really need to figure it's going to be that full 9 months. It might be a little more because you've limited the pool of surrogates to 1/3. Only 1/3 is going to go for twins, just because they know the medical risks and things like that. And then you just need to also, but our view is as long as you understand the medical risks, we're not going to tell you what to do. We'll actually help you manage the risk by putting in the contract that if she gets pregnant with twins, she needs to see a high-risk doctor, because we want to make sure that those babies stay in there as long as possible. So it's just a function of finding a surrogate who's willing to carry.